Hey rum fans, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I've dusted off my bottle of Mount Gay Eclipse. I cannot think of the last time I actually opened this, let alone tasted this. But as we're now in the Barbados series, focusing on my favourite neat sipping rum and my favourite Barbados mixing rum, which comes in the form of a plain and simple rum punch. Lime, sugar, rum, water. No other flavours to kind of complement that. I will generally be able to tell whether it's going to work as a rum and coke or like a mixing rum in that sense. But, you know, how does Mount Gay Eclipse compare with Cockspur? These are the two bargain basement Barbados rums, and that's how we're starting this series off. So Mount Gay shouldn't need too much introduction to most of you. They are a distillery in their own right. Mount Gay, of course, they are, whereas Cockspur in the previous video is a separate brand that is distilled by one of the four distilleries on Barbados and WIRD. I think I'm pretty much sure that it comes with WIRD, West Indian Rum Distillery. Now Mount Gay Eclipse. Mount Gay Eclipse would probably be the most famous Barbados rum for the vast majority of people, especially in the UK, because this has been virtually ever present in most of the supermarkets since I can remember. As I say, it was Cockspur for a lot of years, but you know, we've seen this in supermarkets over here for 20, 25, 30 years probably. It's just been a go-to. Now I realise it has had different blend changes, different I think it's Trudine. I don't know how you say it name. Trudine Brinker. I forget actually how you say that. But she came in a few years ago, and I think the blends have changed roughly. I don't know. I don't really follow. This has been the whole point of this journey. I don't really follow Barbados rum too much up until now. So I'm really, really looking forward to going down, starting with these sort of younger rums and going up through the journeys to see if I'm actually missing a trick with Barbados rums. Now, there's no point going too technical with these base rums. You know, they are blended rums. They are pot and column still rums. They are pretty much aged in like ex-bourbon barrels, or American oak barrels. There is no sort of, you know, nothing exciting really to give you there. Price ABV wise, 37.5% for the Cockspur. This now goes up to 40% ABV, which is going to be interesting for me to taste that alongside that, because I actually did think that punched a little bit higher than 37.5. We shall see. So that's that. But let me give you the price of that. This, relatively speaking, pretty similar to the Cockspur, just very, you know, just a little bit more expensive. So again, I've had this bottle for ages, but so this is my bottle. But its prices are Master of Malt online prices. So £21.65 pence, which is where £1.50, say rounded up, £1.50 more than the Cockspur. Which translates to around the world. We're bringing Australia and Canada into the mix now as well. So 26 US dollars, 20 rounded up, 25 euros, 41 rounded down US dollars, and 30 rounded up 36 Canadian dollars. All right. So again, let me know your prices around the world. Again, US, Canada. I'm pretty much assuming that you are paying, where are we? $26 conversion. I'm pretty much assuming you're paying less than $20 in the US for that, so $6 less at least. And Canada, you should be getting a lot cheaper over there as well. $30 maybe in Canada, I don't know, but let's know your prices. Now, as I said, I cannot think of the last time I opened this bottle or even got it out for like a cocktail breakdown, or even it might have been a rum and coke video flipping a year ago at least. I don't know. I've had this bottle. It was probably one of the first bottles I bought for this rum journey, which is now 3 years old. I generally can't think of there. So this is pretty much a new tasting for me, a new sample. You know, I've got no idea of what I should be getting off this, but off the nose, I would say off the nose, and that's a brand new bottle. So again, I don't know whether the science in that plays any more of that, but this for me smells more vanilla-y. This for me smells more alcohol-y. Yes, I do get a bit of vanilla off there, and there's a little bit of tropical fruit, but that off the nose at face value smells more inviting to my own sort of lighter palate, if you like. I would say actually what I get off the Mount Gay Eclipse is a little bit more sort of caramel, a little bit more nutty vibe off there. But Again, nothing really sort of shouting out. You know, this is not a long aged rum. This is not going to have many barrel characteristics in it. This, in all, intents and purposes, this is a mass produced, easy going, cheap Barbados rum, mixing rum. That's what it is. It's not designed for, neat sipping or anything like that. For most people and for the market, this will be a mixing rum. Now, interesting, just to compare the two, if I was going to pick one for standard mixers, rum and coke, rum and ginger, I'd probably go to Cockspur on the nose. It's got that more sort of vanilla-y vibe. It does. Again, it smells, I don't want to say industrial, but it smells more clinical, more kind of, just straight down the line rum, a blend of rum with nothing else. But this has kind of got a little intriguing vanilla-y and a little touch of sort of light fruity notes going onto it. Whereas the Mount Gay Eclipse doesn't really. I can't give you any more nosing notes than that at this precise moment. It is, yeah, it's just pretty neutral. Wow, so on the taste, it's more to the Mount Gay than a Cockspur, but so right, let's go in this direction. As a mixing rum, as a standard sort of rum and coke, I think a lot of people are going to prefer this as in a rum and coke and a rum and ginger. For me personally, I'm actually going to Cockspur because I want to emphasize I like those lighter, more rounded, fruitier vibes going on. Now, this for me, there is it's not a finesse rum. There's a lot of rough around the edges. There's a lot of, that barrel influence does come through, and it's not heavily aged at all. It really isn't. But there is that sort of peppery tingle that kind of goes in there, which would kind of, work for rum and cokes, rum and gingers. Probably a rum punch. Oh, I don't know. That really does. I was going to say this might work better in a rum punch, but in this rum punch, I think the Cockspur would probably win. We'll find out. But I think the point I'm going to make, I think in a fruitier rum punch, I think because this has got more body to it and a bit more alcohol to it and a bit more sort of peppery, cinnamony spice on the tongue, I think potentially this rum would actually work or make it known that it's in there. Would I put this in a pina colada or those lighter style of cocktails? No. For me, it's not that. That Cockspur is for me. That Cockspur is just like, yeah, put me in those lighter style of drinks. So again, that's kind of how I try and describe things for you guys. If anyone's new just joining me, I kind of related to that. I'm not trying to say one's better than the other. I'm trying to let you know my palate and how I prefer things so you can have a rough idea of how you prefer things, because we've all got different palates. I can't say that that's better than that. I'm just saying this is how it's different. Okay, hopefully that comes through in these reviews. Now, I know there's going to be a small contingent of the 5% club that get involved in going, there's nothing to that. Again, these videos, at this end of the journey, they're not even remotely aimed at you lot. These are not neat sipping rums, although I would quite happily sip that neat. In that, they're not designed to that. I fully appreciate for you guys that love really long aged rums, these are not even remotely this. So I know there's going to be comments and it's rubbish, blah blah blah. I don't care. These are, let me just go down this journey and let me there. At the moment, neat sipping. Right, here's the comparison. I'm going to do the rum punch. Here's the comparison. I prefer that, or would prefer, I could just tell by the palate, that's rum and coke, rum and ginger for me, because that's lighter, easier drinking, 2, 3, 4 rum and cokes. I can tell that off the taste of this is just, it's got a little bit more body to it, a little bit more bite, and it's not gonna be as easy drinking as that as a rum and coke or a rum and ginger. But to flip that as a rum fashioned, like rum, sugar, and that, I think actually that would edge it, because you get more characteristics of the rum coming through on that. So, there's more to this one in that sense. In the Mount Gay Eclipse, there's more to it, But for me at the moment, I potentially would go to Cockspur. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but we shall see how this plays out in a rum punch. Now on the punch, this is really interesting now, because as much as I like the lightness of that Cockspur, I prefer that Mount Gay Eclipse in a punch. There's more body to it, there's more flavour to it, there's more... It just balances out those flavours perfectly. That's a light and easy drinking rum punch. This is like, you know, you're kind of drinking rum in this, in a rum punch. So, you know, for that, there is no comparison. It's a really intriguing one, actually, because I can tell straight away that I personally would prefer the Cockspur in a rum and coke or a rum and ginger ale, but I probably prefer the Eclipse in a rum and ginger beer, and definitely the rum punch. I mean, that's just, it's a lovely rum punch. It's a cocktail rum, and at this precise moment, pretend this is my second ever Barbados rum. You know, for use case for me, for what I have, I'm probably going the Eclipse over the Cockspur. As it all, because of the cocktail vibe of this. But I'm fully aware that there are rums coming that aren't actually that much more in price, that I would happily pay an extra £10, an extra sort of $12–15. They're gonna knock spots off this. I'm not delusioned enough not to realise that. But at the moment, for the two entry levels, the best way I can describe it, it depends how you drink stuff. If you're a rum, I don't know. I don't think you're gonna hate either of those two. If you're a mixer, rum and coke, rum and ginger, I don't think you're gonna hate either of them. I think they do make different drinks. You know, one's not terrible compared to the other. There's minimal between them. I would struggle to be loyal to one of them. If I'm being brutally honest, I would struggle. I'm not going to pick Mount Gay every time over Cockspur. I'm probably going to, you know, in Cockspur in a daiquiri, I'd probably have that in a daiquiri. I wouldn't have the Mount Gay in a daiquiri, but I'd have the Cockspur. In a rum punch, I'm going for the Mount Gay Eclipse. In a coke, I'm probably going for the Cockspur. But in a rum and ginger beer, I'm probably going Mount Gay. So, you know, there's swings and roundabouts for both of them, but I know that there's probably better rums, or a lot better rums for cocktails than that coming. So that's been the Mount Gay Eclipse. In the next video, there it is. That's what we're going for next. Cockspur Old Gold. We are jumping up in price a little bit. It's actually a little bit more expensive because we're coming back down to the Dawleys afterwards. But I think it's the way it kind of fits in. I think that would be kind of a decent rum to feature before we go there. You know, it might actually do better, or should be bracketed alongside the Dawleys 5 and the Mount Gay, whatever it is, the Mount Gay Black Barrel and all that. But I think that might be an unfair comparison, to be honest. So I'm getting this Cockspur out of the way before I go down the Dawleys route, because if I'm being honest, I think the Dawleys and the real McCoys and the sort of the better Mount Gays actually might put this to shame. But again, that's prejudiced before I've even tasted it. So for now, yeah, for these two, the bargain basements, the two £20, the two, what's that in US dollars, the two 25 give or take dollar rums, a lot cheaper than that. The swings and roundabouts for both of them.